Okay, so it may not look it, but I have beat the game. As proof for you, chapter selection only unlocks once you've beaten it. So, I placed myself in chapter 12 because that's when you have the most freedom to explore the world as easily as possible. So, but yeah, my overall thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It had a few rough patches. And those rough patches were frustrating as hell. I mean, if I'm gonna give this game a score of like 1 through 10, 1 being worst, 10 being you know, beyond words awesome, whatever, you know, that's definitely those spots where those forced battles where the combat system basically gets flipped on its head and you have to do a certain type of combat of perfect parry and then counterattack. Otherwise, you get constantly counterattacked with only relative small windows of weakness. Those sections of the game, those definitely are going to take a few points off. Yeah, but those aside, regarding the game's plot and story arc, I actually enjoyed it a lot. Like, I had great fun throughout the entire storyline. There were a few parts that I found but for the most part, it was good. I am really happy that they stuck to the original plot of the story. Yes, there were some alterations and changes here and there. That I am perfectly fine with. In fact, I would kind of be annoyed if they went 1-for-1 with it. It's a remake, not a remaster. You gotta make a few changes here or there. As long as you don't break the overarching plot. That being said, the ending section of the battle, the ending section of the game, where chapter 14, that had some scenes in it, and I'm not going to spoil it, but that had some scenes in it that made me go, what the fuck is going on? I literally said this aloud several times to this cascade of cutscenes. And even here, after an hour or so after playing that scene and having just beat the game about 15 minutes ago, I'm still going, what the fuck is going on with those cutscenes? My best guess is that they were trying to, I mean, well, I'll theorize on that one later. Getting back to my thoughts on the game. Listen, the story was good. It's just chapter 14 left me going, oh my god, what is going on? That said, the game's combat was great. I enjoyed it. It's a great mix between the old and the new. I think, as I said before in other videos, I think this combat system, the action combat with ATB choosing to activate abilities and attack commands. I think that's the way to go from here. I think that's the balance that they need to follow. It keeps the current of action-based combat, but allowing you to perform special abilities and actions based on gained ATB gauge. I think that is the way to go going forward with this game and the Final Fantasy series as a whole, not just 7. Like, it's a game that really is great. Its combat system really is great. Yeah, overall, I can honestly say the combat system in the game itself was just... It was good. But if I were to give it my 1 out of 10 scale, because of those few segments of the game where I was just either baffled, confused as to what was going on, or the forced combat being flipped on its head, I have to give the overall game a 7 out of 10. That said, I'm going to be heading into spoiler territory now, so anybody who has not beaten Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I'll put in the description below what time card to skip to, but just so you know, spoilers are beginning now. In regards to the chapter 13, where Angels Fear to Tread, there were a few parts where I laughed because I know it's not supposed to be funny, but I just couldn't help but laugh. The Shiver soldiers going, "Wah!" They flew along the reverse side river or fountain, whatever, was just awesome. I think that was hilarious, and the remarks were just great. In regards to Chapter 14, though, well, what I talked about earlier about those cutscenes that just left me baffled and confused. My best theory of what they're trying to portray here is that multiple universes and worlds are acting in parallel at once, and the reunion is supposed to combine these worlds into one true timeline, I'm guessing? Like, multiple timelines in the world coalescing as one, each with different outcomes, and apparently he's trying to combine them or something? Is what Sephiroth's goal? Honestly, I still can't make heads or tails, so that's the best I can come up with on that one. The fight with Sephiroth himself, though, once again, and I coined my phrase from my last time playing this game, I feel like they blew their load too early. And anybody who understands what I'm talking about here will get what I mean by that. Anybody who's played the original Final Fantasy VII will get what I mean by that, I should say. Oh, okay, apparently, whatever. I was reading something on the stream really fast. But yeah. It was just, I got sidetracked, damn it. It was one of those things that just made me confused. And I really can't wrap my head around what they were trying to go with. The battle with Sephiroth, though, yeah, I prefer that sidetracked, distracted, damn ADHD. Battle with Sephiroth was just, I mean, like I said, once again, I think they blew their load a little early on that one. Though, if it's anything to go by, I think the reason why they gave us the Genova forms they did in the Bizarro Sephiroth at the end of the game was pretty much to satisfy the fans and say, yeah, this ain't the final boss, but here you go, the final boss of this game. And I think that's why they did it. And I am happy to say that the way they introduced the Whispers at the end of the game in this one, I think, was just kind of like, okay, fine, Sephiroth and the Whispers are interlinked. Fine, I'll take it, I'll accept it. But I still find, at least it didn't feel like they were trying to shove it in just to shove it in. Also, based on what I understand, Aerith did die, but the way they played it off, I was pissed for a second there during a few of the ending cutscenes, because I thought they really had done her death. But no, they didn't. It's just that apparently Cloud can see her when everybody else can't, at least for that time period. Maybe you'll be able to see her more. I don't know. Regardless. Yeah. I don't know what exactly they're trying to do. Maybe that was her spirit, you know, before returning to the planet. I don't know. Or maybe it was just Cloud's Mako degradation-induced hallucination. Could be that too. Regardless, yeah, I might uploading a video later on this point. I have to redo that final boss fight so many times, though. I mean, for them making the final boss hard, even on normal difficulty, it was like, man, really hard. Like, anybody who grew up in the 90s knows that the super bosses, the side bosses, were the true final bosses. Whereas in this era of games, it's like, this is the final boss of the game. And he's going to kick your ass if you let him. I appreciate that, but it's also jarring for someone like me who's used to the final bosses being 10 times easier than the optionals. Then again, here's a horrifying thought. If Sephiroth's that hard, how hard are the optional super bosses? Yeesh. Makes me want to think twice before tackling subquests and optionals. Ugh. But, yeah. Anyways, that said, 7 out of 10. Great game. Am I going to go completionist on this? Hard, maybe. A lot of games, even open world ones, once I beat their main stories, my interest in them tends to wane. And I tend to move on to the next thing eventually. So, I don't know. It really depends on whether or not I feel like it or not. I do enjoy the combat system a lot, so that is why it's a hard maybe. But yeah. With that said, I recommend this game to anybody who wants to play it, and I am genuinely looking forward to the next installment in the series of the remake. With the end of this game, we have finally finished the first disc of the original game. So now we can move on to the second disc and resuming plot. Now, the question is, much longer are they going to drag this out? We finally finished the first disc after 2 games. Part of me wants them to... Toby! Sorry about that, that was my dog. Part of me wants them... Part of me wants them to drag this out, but another part of me doesn't. So it really does depend. I think how they pace the next game is going to be a deciding factor in how much I want this series to keep on going on. Needless to say. So, yeah, with that said, my final thoughts, once again, 7 out of 10 game, recommend to anybody who wants to play it. I don't want to recommend Remake, but at the same token, if you want to know what the fuck's going on in Rebirth, I mean, actually wait, no, they have a story so far thing. Never mind. Don't bother with Remake. They have a story so far segment on the title screen. Yeah, right here. You don't even need to bother with Remake. Just play Rebirth. It's a 10 times better game than Remake. Just don't touch that game. It's not garbage, but this game is 10 times superior to it. That said, hope you all enjoyed watching this video and my thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And with that said, this is Saya, signing off.